Hello, everybody out there. Hi, all my seers out there. It's the King of Call It Like I See It, and we are coming here to have another discussion. Yes, come on in so we can discuss Real Housewives of Atlanta Reunion Part 2. Yes, you know it. You seen Part 1 last week, and it was explosive. It was good. We was all surprised because it was clear. You can understand. It was entertaining. The Reeds was out of this world. Nene was the MVP of Reeds for Part 1 because she read some of those girls down, and we give credit where credit is due. Well, let's see how she does tonight, and let's get into some things. Yes, Part 2 of the reunion, as we know, is virtual because of the whole COVID-19 that is going on in the quarantine, staying 6 feet apart. Well, it's going on right now, even though it's been lifted in Atlanta. The girls filmed it while it was still going on, and we're going to get into them talking about the cookie lady incident. They was discussing the cookie lady and how she was brought into the fold, and of course they had Tanya, a friend of the show, to come and give her side of things and say how she felt. And I feel like Tanya did stand up for herself, or at least she attempted to. She was going back and forth with Candy, well, with herself, because the girls wasn't really giving her much back when she was going at them. She was trying to prove herself, I guess, to show that she can stand up for herself, but the girls wasn't giving her anything back in return. But I do commend her for at least attempting to stand up and give her side of things. And I would say that I do feel, because over here we are a blog where we call it exactly how we see it. We don't have a fave. We love all the girls, and that's why we are comfortable enough to call it exactly how we see it. And I will say that I do feel that Tanya was coached by Portia for sure, or either Portia and Nene before she got on the reunion. And the reason why I say that is because we all know that these girls be texting and having group texts and things in that nature. And we have heard them say on multiple occasions about group texts and talking off camera. So I do feel, because Tanya tried to go be very combative, you know, something that you don't normally see her do, and she tried to go back and forth. So I do feel that Portia and Nene have coached her and told her, girl, if you want a peach, or if you want to still be a friend of the show, you need to let them girls have it. And it did not go across well because the girls didn't give her anything in return. So it seemed like she was just upset with herself. And I feel like holding your own is more than just trying to get loud and get smart. I do feel like Tanya doesn't have the type of personality that is needed for the show. And that's not saying that Tanya is not a good person, or she is not great, or she is not outstanding, because she is. She has a quirky and a fun and lightful attitude. But I do feel that that's because she knows the cameras is around. I do feel like Cynthia, she has another part of her. And I do feel that she will be good on a show, just not Atlanta Housewives. But anywho, she gave her feeling how she felt like the girls was wrong. Cynthia said, you know, she felt like she was wrong for not explaining to them that her and Eva had Tanya's back, and that they pulled her to the side and confronted and consoled her when the cookie lady came. And Cynthia was explaining that. And Kenya was explaining that, look, you came for me first with the whole wig thing, so that's why I came back at you with the cookie lady. I feel like Tanya don't want to take accountability for the whole wig situation. She trying to put it off as that Kenya came for her first when she was at the table saying that if your husband cheat, what would you do? Well, I feel like receipts show otherwise because as you recall, Candy said, I thought she was talking about me, and Portia stated that I thought she was talking about me. So you saying that it was clear that Kenya was coming for you at the table is not clear because it was a general question that females would ask each other in a group setting. But you want to use that as fuel because you was paranoid within yourself and try to come with the weird thing, not knowing that the weird thing is what started it, because you can't really pinpoint the dinner being what started it because it was a general question. And that's all I feel about that. I feel like Tanya she tried to have one up because she had got the 411 that it may have been about her. And I feel like Kenya, once you shoot shots fired, you can't tell someone how to retaliate. So, moving right along. I just feel like, she held her own. Well, I'm not going to say she held her own. She tried to stand up for herself. But I feel like it just wasn't landing. Her reads and her comebacks and her trying to be angry and trying to read someone. It's just not reading well on camera. If they decide to bring her back next season, I do feel like she needs to take it up a notch and she needs to show that she can stand on her own 2 feet. They talked about the receipts. We do know once we watch the receipts, the whole issue with the receipts from the last episode when Portia said she had receipts. Well, when the receipts was read, it wasn't as bad as Portia said it was. Kenya didn't say, I'm going to get her, and this didn't text, I'm going to get her, and I'm going to take her down. Kenya was just expressing that she felt that Cynthia should have took up for her with Eva. I don't see anything wrong with that. If these are a group of ladies, if y'all already have group texts outside the show, if y'all all are friends, I don't see what's wrong with Kenya maybe saying, okay, I feel like Cynthia should have took up for me in that moment. Or if Nene went to Tanya and said, I feel like Portia should have took up for me. They are all friends, so I don't see it. Portia was trying to put 20s on 10s because she was trying to put this insinuation or plant this seed in Cynthia's head so she can start doubting her relationship with Kenya. A lot of people feel like it's toxic, but me, I just feel like her relationship with Nene is more toxic because now you can't pinpoint one time where Kenya has got off camera and did interviews dogging Cynthia to the ground, telling them that she shouldn't be on the show, trying to stop Cynthia's bag like she's trying to do Candy by saying boring, like she's trying to do Eva by saying boring. You haven't seen Kenya do not one thing. Yes, she do throw little shade on the show because they all do that to each other. But Nene has done way worse and has assassinated Cynthia's character on many interviews in previous seasons, even when Cynthia wasn't going back at her first. So I do feel that people are reaching because over here we call it like we see it, and based on the receipts, Nene has been more of a toxic friend than Kenya. But because people have such a bad annotation about Kenya or don't like her because of her ways that has made the show, they want to try to paint the picture that Kenya is a worst friend. But I don't believe that to be so. And no, I don't have a favorite. And no, Kenya has done wrong things. But in that situation, because we call it like we see it, we aren't like the other blogs that are here. You have some blogs that are staying Nene. So they try to word everything to make Nene not look as bad, but they have no guards up when they talk about some of the other women. It's a lot of blogs that are biased based upon their favorite housewives, but over here we just keep it 100 based upon the situation at hand and what we see, not what we make up in our mind. And I do feel like Nene has been a worse friend than Kenya. That's just my opinion, and that's how I feel, because over here we call it like we see it. Let me ask you a question. Speaking of, I just feel like, to elaborate on Tanya, I feel like Tanya has to be coached. She has to have her handheld. And I feel like it's a thin line. I feel like Portia is doing too much when it comes to Tanya. I feel like it's a thin line between, having someone's back and then holding their hand. We've seen many situations where Portia will fight Tanya's battle, where Portia will speak up and respond to the fight that Tanya's having with Kenya, but then they want to sit up here and say this has nothing to do with you when other girls chime in on their problems. Well, how are you going to speak up for Tanya when Tanya and Kenya's beef has nothing to do with you, but the other girls can't do the same thing? I feel like it's double standards in this group. They also talked about Nene and Kenya and how Andy asked Nene, you said that Mark is Kenya's karma. Do you still stand on what you said? Well, Nene was silent. Of course, she didn't give no response. She didn't say if she still stand on it or not. But Kenya brought up the fact that you saying it's karma for me, but is it karma for you that Greg was sitting here having relations with your employee? Once again, the receipts show that these women don't want other women to do the exact thing that they do. How can you speak on someone else's marriage when your marriage is not 100? Whether you try to dress it up with saying open marriage, or try to, like you did, go in the blogs and try to put everything on Greg. So if y'all relationship don't work, it can be on Greg. Whether y'all are still being together for the cameras, even though y'all not sleeping in the same room, or you talking to other men, but because you don't want your marriage to be deemed as failed for the second time, y'all staying together? Or is it that y'all love each other but not in love? You still can't go after someone else's marriage when your marriage is not 100. That is called hypocritical. And Nene has a tendency to do that. She wants other people to be held to a certain standard, and then she held to her own standards. And when it don't go her way, she likes to play what? Victim. How is it karma for Kenya to be treated like dirt by her husband because of the whole Tanya thing, when Tanya and her guy is not even married, and when Tanya started the beef by insinuating that Kenya was talking about her instead of asking Kenya in that moment, and then trying to be shady and bring the wigs? Where once you shoot fire, then all gloves are off. See, people like to put limits on what the shade should be or what you do in return. No, if you shoot fire at me, I'm coming back at you, because that's what this show is built on. You can't tell me how to come back at you. And you trying to bring this weird thing to humiliate me and ruin my brand is just as bad as me bringing a cookie lady to talk to you about your man that you try to put out as being perfect when reality he is not. See, that's what I don't like, and that's why I feel like Tanya is not good for the show, because I can't stand people that try to make it seem like everything in their life is peaches and cream when it's not, or their partner is perfect when they're not. If you're going to be a part of the show, you're going to have to let your guard down, and you need to stop putting on this fake persona that you are putting on to try to make it seem like your life is a certain way when it's not. And that's just point blank, period. You have to be transparent and real. And it's just something about Tanya that I feel that is not real. I feel that it is put on for TV, and because she knows the camera is right there watching her. So I feel like she is not taking accountability for what she did. They want to put the pressure more on Kenya, because Kenya's shade was clearly more powerful than Tanya's, but Tanya stepped into the fire, and once you step into the fire, you cannot dictate how the battle should go. And that's point blank, period. Like, all these women has hit below the belt and has did things to her. And another thing is about accountability is I don't see how, I feel like Portia. Oh, well, before we get to that part, we're going to talk about Cynthia. Since we're talking about the cookie lady, I do not agree with Cynthia not taking ownership in her part with the cookie lady. I feel like Cynthia is the person that throw the rocks and hide the hand. Yes, I do feel like that in this situation, because if you and the cookie lady is in the same building, y'all work in the same complex, then it does seem a little fishy, and it ties you to the cookie lady. And if you telling the cookie lady to come to Brooklyn's party to address Tanya, then that clearly states that you have a hand in it. But now that you are being put on a spotlight, you're trying to put it all on Kenya. And that's not a true friend. Look at your neighbor and say, Cynthia cannot be trusted. I don't think Cynthia is a good friend. People like to say Kenya not a good friend to Cynthia, but Cynthia clearly has some little issues that she needs to work out when being a friend to Kenya, because she easily throw little slick shade too, and she easily try to put it all on Kenya. You the one that told the cookie lady to come to Brooklyn's party. So it seemed like you started the whole situation. And even after you tried to put it all on Kenya, Kenya still sat there on camera and said Cynthia had nothing to do with it. But who is the bad friend? But Kenya is the bad friend. I'm just saying. No, I don't have a favorite once again, but I'm calling it exactly how I see it based upon what I see and what the receipts have shown. It's double standards in this group, and that's not cool. You know what I mean? It can't be double standard. It has to be a fair playing ground. And I feel like Cynthia needs to own up to what she did. You had your hand in it. Don't try to throw the rock and hide and duck behind the shelter so you won't be called out. That's not it, That is not it. And I do feel like if Cynthia comes back for another season, that she should be in the hot seat next. We did see that this, season of Real Housewives of Atlanta that, Nene and Kenya was kind of in the hot seat. You know what I mean? And then they tried to ease Tanya to see how she reacts to drama. I don't think she did a good job. But anywho, she tried to play victim. But anywho, I do feel I do feel like Cynthia needs to be in the hot seat because she haven't been in the hot seat yet, and because she tries to throw the rock and hide her hand, I do feel that she should be in the hot seat for next season. She should be shaken up for next season, and I do feel like that. Moving right along to Nene and Candy and the whole spin-off issue. You know that Nene made this rant on her page, her YouTube page, you know, like she does. She go on her YouTube page and she tried to give her side of the story and put an answer out to her fans of what went on. And she was saying that how certain person keep getting a spin-off season after season after season when the other girls have nothing. But when people were saying that she was talking about Candy, which clearly she was, because season after season after season is referring to if anybody on that show. You filming the show right now, and you're talking about a spin-off season after season. Season after season is Real Housewives of Atlanta because that's the only seasonal show that you're on. And then when you talk about a show after show after show, the person with the most spin-off is Candy. But when Candy confronted you about it, you want to do like Cynthia, throw the rock or hide your hand. And I do feel that that's not right. I feel that you need to take ownership of who you was talking to. Just like Candy said, if you are the queen of keeping it real, if you don't back down from anybody, if you don't run and you're not scared of nobody, if you telling these girls to keep it real, keep it 100, and they faking haters, then why can't you simply call the name of the person that you was talking about? Why did you have enough courage to go on your platform and publicly speak out about it, not knowing that you going to be questioned, and when you're questioned, you want to keep your mouth zipped? No, it's because you don't like the backlash that you got from putting that out there. We all know that you was talking about Candy Bird. Andy said it was only two people that she could be talking about, Candy and Kim, and we all know she's not talking about Kim because she said spin off season after season. Kim's show is literally a show. It's the same show, but Candy gets different type of different theme of spin off. So we know that you was talking about Candy, and it dims your trophy of being 100 and being that girl that always keep it real when you aren't always keeping it real. Point blank period. Throw the rock, hide your hand, and that's not cool. Why isn't Nene keeping it real and saying who she was talking about? You kept it real and spoke out about it. So why aren't you keeping it real and telling us who it was? You know, I don't understand that. But we're going to move right along. We have Kenya and Marlo, and the whole Kenya busting into her wig event with her Kenya Moore hair care and doing that. And Marlo feel like Kenya was wrong, and Kenya feel like she wasn't wrong because it was times before this that Marlo has talked about her hair care line. So when the favor is returned, then it's a problem. I don't understand why they be coming for certain girls, and then when the girls retaliate and they do it better than them, that's when it becomes a problem. Double standards. Marlo has hit below the belt so many times, and now you want to be like your good sister over there and play victim. No, not over here. We call it exactly how we see it, and we say that you cannot hold Kenya to a standard and say what she did was wrong when you have trashed her company multiple times. Like, I don't understand that. You know, no, Kenya was in a different circumstance where, you know, if that was somebody else that Kenya didn't have beef with, who didn't trash Kenya's name, trash Kenya's brand, saying, putting laughing at the fact that her mother doesn't want to be a part of her life when there's so many people out there who mothers and parents disown them and they take their own life because of it. You laugh at that, but then you get mad when she retaliates back and when she don't take her foot off your neck. I don't care if you told me 10 years ago that my mother don't want me and that's good. I'm not going to let that slide. That's not something that I'm going to ever get over. You went way, 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 way below the belt. So I'm not mad at Kenya for keeping her foot on her neck because you affiliated with Nene who really don't like me and you don't like me, so, and you talked about my life and my mother not wanting me. You trash my hair, Caroline, and I'm not supposed to do anything back. No. That once again, look at your neighbor and say double standards amongst the group. So Kenya was wrong if that was an incident where if that was someone that she had no problems with and she just randomly bust in their event with that, then I would understand. I would say Kenya is wrong on so many levels, but because it was Marlo who has went below to the belt and trashed her business so many times, yes, I'm going to give you the favor in return. And that's just point blank, period. We call it exactly how we see it. Let's talk on this thing. See, I'm not liking the fact that Portia wants to hold everybody else to a standard that she's not holding herself. I feel like if Portia going to be mad at Kenya, then she needs to be mad at Nene because everything that she is saying that Kenya does, Nene does. But it's okay for Nene to do it, but not okay for Kenya to do it. Just like when Andy was like, I'm not understand what's your problem with Kenya because you were just at her baby's party. Y'all had an intimate moment where you told her you love her and she was a good person, but it seems as if when you and Nene got back close, that's when you had a problem with Kenya. But Nene has done the same exact things and worse to you than Kenya. That's why I'm not understanding why so many people are holding Nene to a different standard than Kenya when they are in one and the same person. That's why they bump heads. That's why Kenya is Nene matched, because they have similar ways. Okay, so you tell Kenya that you mad that she made the doggy style comment when Nene said you should be getting a rabies shot. Which one is worse? Saying you need to ask about doggy style or you need to get a rabies shot because you might have a rabies or disease. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand at all. You're holding people to different standards. Nene called you Miss Piggy, but yet she slid. Kenya's such a horrible person, which she do have ways that are very malicious like all the other girls do on the show. But yet you want to be friends with someone that will attempt or act like they're going to spit on somebody. Come on, the double standards. I know some of you not going to like this kind of truth, this kind of things being brought out to the light, but this is for the people that see past the BS. Now, when Kenya wrong, Kenya wrong. When Nene wrong, Nene wrong. When Candy wrong, Candy wrong. When Cynthia wrong, Cynthia wrong. And in this moment, I'm calling Portia out because it's like, how can you hold someone else to a standard that you're not holding your other friend? So your other friend can dog you to the ground, but then someone else do it and you mad at them. When this friend dog you out even worse. That's what I don't understand. The reunion was good, but it was a lot of double standards. It was a lot of people not taking accountability for the things they do, but want to hold other people accountable. How can you hold somebody else accountable when you're not taking account? You saying that, they hating because you wanted to apologize to the friends. Well, the reason why they hating because you was on interviews before, the reunion, saying that you didn't want to apologize. You don't know why you had to apologize. You didn't mean none of the apologies. But now you being called out, you want to play victim. Don't understand. The reason why they side-eyeing you and Portia's relationship is because you dogged her out. And when she dogged you back out, y'all went y'all separate ways. And she had just said didn't want you on the show. She didn't want to come to your luncheon. But all of a sudden, y'all back best friends. But she want to hold other people accountable for the things that you done to her. And let you slide when you done much worse. That's why I'm saying the double standards. Nene always liked to play victim. She always liked to play victim, and Portia always liked making excuses for Nene. And that's what I'm surprised about, because I thought Portia held her on and stood on her own, but it seemed like she needs Nene because that's the only reasonable explanation for this woman dogging you out and doing you like dirt, but you making excuses for her, but holding someone else accountable for doing the same thing that this woman done when this woman's done worse to you. That's what I don't understand. That's what makes it fake, and that's what makes you question if Nene and Portia was friends all along but planned this beef, because they text outside the show and they discuss things. Did they plan this to try to have a storyline for the show? And I'm not going to be much longer, but we got to speak on the fact that Nene keeps walking away. She walked away this time, and we know that Giovanna is going to be making an appearance on the next episode, the next part, the third part of the reunion. And we know that Nene seemed to be off camera. And we did hear Cynthia say the fact that Nene is not here to talk about the situation. She ran off camera, says a lot to me, and it says a lot to me too. What do you have to hide, Nene? You tried to send a cease and desist to Giovanna because you don't want the truth to come out. And then you tried to block her. You saying the executives told you that she wouldn't be in attendance, but it was probably you calling the executives to talk them into not letting her come because you have something to hide. Once again, we throw the rock and hide the hand. We love to, pick on all the other girls, but not hold Nene accountable for things that she has done season after season after season after season. And now that the karma has come back to her, she wants to play victim. But you can go to all those other blogs if you're a type of person that is biased based upon the character that or the person on the show that you like a lot of the other blogs do. They sit there and they make excuses, or they try to word their things to make one person seem less offensive than the other. But over here we call it like we see it, and we do call that this was a good reunion. And we're going to talk about who is the MVP of Reeves. Some of you are not going to like this, but I must say that Kenya takes that title. Last week it was Nene. This week it's Kenya. Kenya said, "Girl, you the ugliest one on the show. Fake nose, fake cheeks. Girl, the only man you brought on the show was the one that you and Nene was at the same time." She told Portia, "You always lie." So she did some good reads on tonight, and she do get the MVP award. Eva was slipping her way in there. I heard you, Eva. I heard you, Eva. Oh, that's Nene friend. Oh, when it gets too hot in the kitchen, you got to leave. I heard Candy, I'm forever embedded in your mind, Nene had her reads, she tried to have her reads, you're forgettable, but then she kind of messed that up when she told Candy, you're unforgettable. You know, like that messed the whole read up, you know. But Candy sound forever better than your mind. This was a good reunion, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to call it exactly how we see it. And yes, if you want to be a part of the Seers group, go ahead and subscribe. Subscribe over here where we are not biased, where we call it exactly how we see it. And until next time, y'all have a good day. Love you guys and see you soon.